This is Waithaka again. I want to welcome you to my video today. I'll be training you how to draw surface development of a right square pyramid. And when you talk of surface development, you are just trying to see how we can open up the various sides of a right square pyramid. And for this case, we are given again a trick a little bit on the pyramid because it has been cut by a cutting plane at a distance of 40 millimeters from the base. Of course, we are given a number of conditions. We know that the pyramid has sides of 50 millimeters. The base has edges of 50 millimeters, which is a square, and then the apex is at 85 millimeters. And of course, as I've said before, the cutting plane cuts the pyramid at 40 millimeters from the base at an angle of 30 degrees. So our requirement today is to complete the plan of the truncated pyramid. Then we'll also be required to draw the true shape of the cut face. And finally, we come up with the surface development of the truncated right square pyramid. Those are the three things that I will be showing you how to draw in this tutorial. So for us to address the first part, to complete the plan, we will draw vertical lines referencing points that have been cut, where the cutting plane cuts the pyramid. That's where we will draw vertical lines to the plan to define the truncated face. So we draw two vertical lines from the points where the cutting plane has cut the pyramid, and they help us to define the truncated face on the plan. And maybe for ease of following up, we can label our figure so that we follow up. It is easy for us to follow up. So we have point A, B, C, D denoting the base. And of course, on the elevation of the pyramid, at this point we have point A, B, representing point A and B. And at this point we have point C and D, representing point C and D on the elevation. Then we can also introduce other points on the cutting plane for ease of following. We can call this point 1 and 2. We can call this point 3 and 4. So what we did before is to draw lines from point 1 and 2 vertically down, point 3 and 4 vertically down to define our truncated face. And where the two vertical lines cuts the edges of the pyramid in plan, those are the points that we are looking for to define the truncated face. So at this point we have point 1, at this point we have point 2, at this point we have point 3, and at this point we have point 4. And what remains now is to join the 4 points to define the truncated face. And then of course we outline the other edges simply because they are part of the plan. Then, simply because the truncated face is a cut face, it has been cut by a cutting plane, then we have to cross-hatch it to define or to demonstrate that this is a face that has been cut. So there we are, we have tackled the first part where we are required to complete the plan of the truncated pyramid, and that's how the plan would look like when the pyramid has been for the truncated pyramid. Then we move to the second part where we are supposed to draw the true shape of the cut face. Remember, we are required to do the true shape of the cut face simply because whatever is represented on the plan does not give us the real dimensions or the true dimensions for the truncated face, because simply this is a plan representation of the truncated pyramid. Therefore, for us to do, or for us to draw the true shape, we will extend the baseline of our pyramid. We extend the baseline of our pyramid to use it as our reference. Then anywhere along that baseline, we establish a point. You can call this point P. And then using point P and our compass, we open our compass to a radius P12. And then we rabbit that point to touch the baseline, or to touch the line that is we've prolonged from the baseline of our pyramid. We do the same with point 34. So using P as the center again, we repeat point 34 to touch the baseline coming from the base of the pyramid, and then we project those 2 points vertically down. Then we also draw horizontal lines from point 1, 2, 3, and 4 to meet the points that we've repeated from the elevation, with 1, 2, and 3, 4. Then once we've drawn the horizontal lines from point 1, 2, 3, and 4, then we need to identify the true shape from the interaction between the two lines that are coming from the elevation and the plan. And from the elevation, we have the arc 1, 2, where that arc meets with point 1, with the line that is coming horizontally from point 1, that should give us point 1. Again, point 2 will be defined by the same arc, and a horizontal line from point 2 where it interacts with the curve 1, 2 should give us point 2. Point 3 and 4 will be given by the curve 3, 4. Therefore, where the horizontal line interacts from point 3 interacts with the curve 3, 4, that should give us point 3. And of course, point 4 will be there. Therefore, what is required now is to join the 4 points with straight lines to define the true shape. that is the true shape, or the required true shape of the truncated face. And again, because simply it's a face that has been cut by a cutting plane, we also cross-hatch it. And we also able to show or to indicate that this is the true shape. So therefore, that is the true shape, and what this means is that if we were to model this truncated pyramid in 3D, this true shape gives us now the real shape or the real dimensions for the truncated face of the pyramid in 3 dimensions. Therefore, that's why it was necessary for us to do the true shape to obtain the true length for the truncated face of the pyramid. Therefore, we've done part 1 and part 2. Therefore, we move to part 3, where we are supposed now to come up with the surface development of the truncated pyramid. So when we talk of surface development, we are basically saying that we want to open up the truncated pyramid and demonstrate all the sides for the truncated pyramid in 2 dimensions. Therefore, for us to come up with a development, we need to define the true shape, the true length of the given pyramid. We need to define the true length of the edges of the pyramid. And we are basically talking of the true length of the edges of the pyramid simply because what we've been given here as 85 millimeters is basically the distance between the apex of the pyramid and the base, and the center of the base. So if you were to do a sketch of the pyramid, of course we are saying it's cut by a truncating plane. What we've been given as 85 millimeters is the distance between the apex and the center of the base. That is what has been defined as 85 millimeters. And therefore, when we are projecting that pyramid in 2 dimensions to get the elevation, then it basically means that the edges, the real length of the edges were distorted to achieve an elevation for the square pyramid. So therefore, we need to define, or we need to get the real length of the edge, simply because when you are drawing the elevation, we distorted the edges of the pyramid, and therefore this cannot define the real length of the pyramid. Therefore, that's the reason why we need to get the true length for this pyramid, which will help us, or which will assist us to do the surface development of the truncated pyramid. So therefore, having explained the reasons why we need to define or to establish the true length of the edges of the pyramid, therefore we will, using our compass and using the center of our pyramid, we could call this center O. we will first of all draw a line from center O, a horizontal line from center O, which will help us to establish the true length. Draw a horizontal line from center O. Then using our compass, open our compass to radius OC. Then we repeat that point until it touches the line that is coming from the center of the pyramid. And then we repeat it, we project it to touch the base of our pyramid at point C prime. At point C prime. Therefore, a line that is coming from point C prime to the apex, that will define the real length of the edges of our pyramid. And that is what you are calling the true length of this pyramid. So therefore, O, call that point O, of the same center of the pyramid. OC now defines the true length of the edges of our pyramid. And then once we have the true length, then we will project point 1, 2, and 3, 4 horizontally to the true length. And this will give us point 3 prime and 4 prime. Here we get point 1 prime and 2 prime. So having projected point 1, 2, and 3, 4 to get 1 prime and 2 prime to our true length, then for us to do surface development of the truncated pyramid, we will establish point O on an empty space in our drawing paper, and then we will draw a number of arcs. We'll draw arc OC prime, O3 prime, 4 prime, and O1 prime, 2 prime. And those are the arcs that will help us to develop the truncated pyramid. So using center O, we draw the first arc. Then we'll get radius O3 prime, 4 prime. Radius O3 prime, 4 prime. Then using the same center, describe another arc. Then we'll take radius O1 prime, 2 prime. Then we can label the 3 arcs for ease of follow-up. So this is arc C prime, this is arc 3 prime, 4 prime, this is arc 1 prime, 2 prime. And then of course, because we are developing the pyramid, we must start from a point. Then for this case, we start from point A. Therefore, we need to draw a radial line from point O to define point A on our area where we are developing the pyramid. So a radial line that is coming from point O to arc C prime will give us point A. Then what we need now is to define the other sides of the pyramid, and give, simply because we know our pyramid has a base edge is 50 millimeter. So using our compass, we'll take open our compass and pick that dimension, and then step along arc C prime to define the other points of the base. This will give us point B, C, D, and again, because we are opening it up, should cross back to point A. Then we'll draw radio lines from point O to B, C, D, and back to point A. Then what now remains is for us to identify, we've already identified points for A, B, C, and D. Then we need to identify point 1, 2, 3, and 4 for us to be able to define the other sides of the truncated pyramid. And therefore that is simple, we are able to follow up with our lines and be able to identify the points. And what we are saying is that point 1 will be given by an arc that came from point 1, 2. Therefore, we will use arc 1 prime, 2 prime, which is this one, arc 1 prime, 2 prime, where it interacts with the radio line that is coming from OA, where it interacts with the line that is coming from OA, that should give us point 1. Therefore, arc 1 prime, 2 prime will interact with radio line OA, will give us point 1. So point 2 again will be given by the same arc, which was drawn by arc 1 prime, 2 prime. But now, when it interacts with the radio line OB, therefore OB will interact with arc 1 prime, 2 prime, we get point 2. Point 3 will be given by arc 3 prime, 4 prime, 3 prime, 4 prime, where it interacts with radio line OC. Therefore, radio line OC, arc 3 prime, C prime will give us point 3. Then point 4 again will be given by the interaction of radio line OD and arc 3 prime, 4 prime. Arc 3 prime, 4 prime with radio line OD give us point 4. And of course, OA should give us again point 1. So that it can cross back to point 1. And therefore, once we've identified those points, what remains now is to join them with straight lines to define the edges or the sides of the truncated pyramid. So we join point 1, 2. Three, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, and then 4, 1. So that will define the edges of the truncation. But of course, we know this is a square pyramid, so the base again also is not a curve, they are straight lines. So we use straight line to join point A, B, C, BC, CD, and DA. So there we are, we defined the base, but again now we need to train the edges to define the real shape of the truncated pyramid sides. So there we are, we have defined the 4 sides of the truncated square pyramid. But of course we know that the truncated pyramid has 6 sides, because we have the truncated face and the base. So what remains is for us to attach the truncated face or the true shape on the development, and again of course the base on the development. So you can start with the true shape. And for us to be able to attach the true shape on the surface development, we pick any of the sides that we've been given, because we already know face edges 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1. So we can pick edge 3, 4 and attach it using edge 3, 4. So we already know point 3 and 4. So we'll use those 2 points to generate point 1 and 2. So we can start with locating point 1. What we'll do is we will open our compass to radius 3, 1. Then using point 3 as the center, we describe an arc. Then we get distance 4, 1. And use point 4 to describe an arc to cut the previous one that was coming from point 3. So you need to extend this one to cut that arc at point 1. Point 1. Then we establish point 2. Again we do the same. We get distance 4, 2. Then using point 4, describe an arc. And then we get distance 3, 2. Using point 3, we describe another arc. Of course, we need to prolong the previous arc to cut our arc that is we've done with radius 3, 2. We can extend that arc to cut so this should be point 2, sorry, and this is point 1. And therefore what remains is to join those points with straight line to define the truncated face. And then again we also hatch it to indicate that it is a cut face. And finally now we attach the base, and we know the base is a square, so that's simple to attach the base. So what we'll do is that we will erect a perpendicular, or first of all we'll identify one of the side, either A, B, C, D, but for now we can use edge CD to define, to attach the base. And what we'll do is that we will erect a perpendicular at point C and point D, and that will give us the square. First of all is to prolong line CD. Then using our compass, we erect a perpendicular at point D, open our compass to a small radius, then we describe an arc on both sides of point C. Then using those 2 points, either with the same radius or a different radius, we describe 2 arcs to meet at a point. Then we join the intersection of those two arcs with point C. Then again we erect a perpendicular at point D, again with a small radius using our compass. Describe an arc on both sides of point D, using the same radius or a different one. Make two arcs. Then we join the intersection of the arc with point D. Then using our compass again, we know our base has edges of 50 millimeters, so we can pick any edge, AB or BC, it's the same. Then we define the extent of our base. Then that will give us the base of the truncated pyramid. And then finally we can label to indicate that this is the surface development of the truncated pyramid. So therefore we've been able to achieve what we wanted to do in this tutorial, complete the plan, draw the true shape and the surface development of the truncated pyramid. Therefore I want to thank you for staying with me in this video, in this tutorial. I want to invite you to leave us comments in our comment section, tell us what you would wish us to focus on, areas that you would wish us to make tutorials on. Kindly leave them in our comment section. Again, I want also to invite you to like our channel and again also to subscribe to support our technical training channel.